Je suis quitté Haïti le 18 février 2022. Actuellement, la madame moi a 6 mois en cette Haïti.
These men have traveled for 4 months through several countries before finally arriving at the US-Mexico border. We're not showing their faces or using their names.
Is everyone leaving behind families, loved ones?
Oui.
Et n'a boumé quand même pour nous prendre petite nous et madame nous pour que vienne vivre avec nous.
They are presenting themselves to border authorities and officially seeking asylum through an exemption to Title 42, a policy invoked by the Trump administration during the pandemic that allows officials at the border to turn migrants away. Almost 2 million migrants have been expelled since it went into effect. Right-wing pundits and media personalities are capitalizing on the Biden administration's attempts to lift Title 42.
They're going to make a run on our border when Title 42 expires like we've never seen before.
Title 42 is functionally gone already at the border. My colleagues who've been to the border have reported back to me that down there, they want to get ahead of the expected flow and flood and tidal wave. And so they're just waving these folks in.
Biden's plans to get rid of Title 42 furthers the argument to some conservatives that Democrats are systematically trying to replace them.
You can't just replace the electorate because you didn't like the last election outcomes. That would be the definition of undermining democracy, changing the voters.
Once relegated to white supremacist chat rooms, what's known as the Great Replacement theory is now mainstream, regularly pushed by popular conservatives who claim that white Americans are literally being replaced. And this message is resonating. A poll from April 2022 found that 7 in 10 Republicans believe, to some extent, that progressives are trying to replace conservative white voters. The Buffalo shooter referenced Great Replacement repeatedly in his 180-page manifesto. Another domestic terrorist who killed 23 people in an El Paso Walmart also pointed to a so-called Hispanic invasion of Texas to justify his attacks. And even though El Paso is nearly 83% Latino and is overwhelmingly Democratic, conservative politicians have started to make inroads in this blue bubble.
Your safety begins where this fence ends.
Irene Armendariz Jackson is running against one-term Democratic incumbent representative Veronica Escobar, whose district includes El Paso.
We see the catastrophe on the southern border. All I have to do is look out in my backyard and we see it every day.
She calls herself the border candidate.
We just followed 4 buses. They're full of illegals. America, wake up. We have an invasion in our country.
Armendariz Jackson is first generation. Her parents immigrated from Mexico before she was born, and she's now married to a retired Border Patrol agent.
So this is the neighborhood that I live in. Very typical. You don't see a lot of people walking, but there's times where there's a lot of men walking up and down this. There isn't a criminal element, and they are not welcome, and they shouldn't be welcome into our country.
And how do you know that they're migrants?
It's very obvious. The way they look, the way they're dressed, it's just very obvious.
And what about that is scary to you?
They haven't been vetted. We don't know who they are. You don't let just anybody in your house. People in El Paso, especially those that have immigrated, do not want illegal immigration, especially if they immigrated themselves and they did it the right way.
The big pillar of your campaign is border security, right?
Absolutely.
It is what's happening at the border. Why so?
The border communities are actually the ones that are going to feel the brunt of it. And I also always say, if the Democrats really cared about Hispanics, they would be completely against illegal immigration.
Armendariz Jackson ran against Escobar 2 years ago, but she only received 35% of the vote.
We're actually a hop and a skip away from Mexico. You're going to literally see it from the backyard.
The wall over there.
You're going to see it from her backyard.
Okay.
But this time, she believes her message is resonating and will get her a win this November.
We're walking into One of Irene's volunteers who lives directly in front of the wall. As you can see it right in front of us is JUAREZ. We're in El Paso right now. And so these are families and communities that are living and breathing immigration.
Many supporters of Armendariz Jackson's campaign are Latino, and many are children of immigrants or have recently immigrated themselves. Several have bought into some part of the Great Replacement theory.
For how many of you is immigration a top issue? Raise your hand. Every single one of you.
Well, me too.
Why so?
With this administration, that they're just leaving everyone come in and giving them all this bunch of stuff, it really gets on my nerves. And some people might think that since we're Hispanics, we're kind of more for it, but I don't think that's true.
Yes, there are a lot of good people crossing, but there's just as many bad. I've had a migrant fall out of a tree and scare me in the morning, and the only thing I thought of is, why don't I have my gun on me? Because
would you have shot him?
No, but I would have at least felt protected.
Have you asked them why they're coming here?
Oh, I know why. If I was them, I'd be trying to do the same thing. But the difference is, you have to do it the right way.
According to U.S. law, every single human being has a legal right to seek asylum, right? That doesn't mean they can permanently live here.
Well, they know exactly what they're doing. Everything is planned out. It is a scripted thing. As soon as they get here, they're not even here 24, 72 hours, they're gone. And they're all over the United States, and they're criminals. And the fact that you think that criminals, they are because they're illegally here. They're not legal.
Through the years, I've met countless mothers, just like you, that because they were trying to keep their children safe, fleeing violence, gangs, rapes, they literally walked miles and miles and miles from all over Latin America to come here, seeking that American dream. What do you tell those moms?
There's good ones that are going to be like, hey, you know what? I turned myself in. I need help. And that's what they want. They want help. They want us to help them. And we understand that. We're not inhumane. We're not like, well, we're not going to help you. No, we are. We want to help you, but you got to do it the right way.
Irene, when you look at your tweets, you've mentioned the word invasion at least 10 times. Do you see any danger in using a word like invasion?
No, we got to call things what they are. And just like Jennifer was talking about, them being criminals because they didn't do, they went, they're breaking the law.
So you're calling just to be clear, you're calling, so every single undocumented person that is in the United States, you are calling them all criminals.
Yeah, they broke the law. They broke the law.
And do you all see, again, any danger in using a word like invasion, and correlating migrants and asylum seekers and undocumented people to invasion?
How many people have crossed our border since 2020? How many people have come through? How can you not call it an invasion? It's millions of people.
It's naive of you to speak like that, like that they're not criminals. It's like sugarcoating this whole idea.
I'm not going to be bound by fear. We're going to call it what it is. They're criminals by coming into the country illegally. They're illegal aliens because I refuse to change the terminology. And I don't care what side of the fence you're on. I don't care if you're a conservative. I don't care if you're a reporter on Fox or CNN. You call them what they are. They're illegal aliens because if you change the terminology, you change the law. And I'm not okay with that.
But at the end of the day, let's not pretend that this isn't some type of a situation. Why aren't they letting Cubans come?
So let's...
But no, let me ask you that. How come Cubans... Biden's like, nope, Jen Psaki, no Cubans. Why? Because they know what communism is. And they will come here and put on a red hat and be happy.
Do you believe that there's a concerted effort behind Democrats 100%. In attempting to bring more immigrants to this country in order to take them out of power? So you believe Democrats are behind this and orchestrating this?
Why are they doing all that they're doing? Of course they're doing it on purpose.
They're getting flown throughout our country. How does that make sense for Americans?
In 2020, Trump received nearly 30,000 more votes in El Paso County than he did in 2016. His border policies have set the stage for conservatives' momentum here.
I eat, live, and breathe the border. I'm just so obsessively, compulsively dedicated to this. I'm a lone wolf.
Anthony Agüero is also from El Paso. He's an independent correspondent with a social media site he helped found.
How you guys doing? Your friend Anthony Agüero out here once again on the U.S. southern border.
He spends countless hours driving and live streaming his way up and down the border.
This is no man's land right here, guys. This is real border war shit right here.
His videos usually rack up a few hundred views. Others get closer to 10,000.
That's your COVID right there and your monkeypox right there being imported.
But Agüero is deeply entrenched in conservative politics and does have influence. He joined some of the most conservative members of Congress at the border last summer.
It feels good to see these people out here, you know what I'm saying? They actually walk the walk.
In 2020, he ran for office to represent Texas' 16th district, and he participated in the insurrection at the Capitol. Agüero and his friend, a former ICE officer, took us along on their regular patrol.
What's this?
So this is one of the crossing routes immediately from when the migrants cross, where the wall ends on the side of Nuevo Mexico. They will come through here and escalade Border Patrol.
When you do these stories, no, when you sort of walk the same footsteps as a lot of these migrants and asylum seekers, what is the purpose for you, right? Is the purpose to understand their stories and understand why they're coming, or is the purpose to sort of create fear-mongering?
It's to educate. Everything that I do out here is with a purpose to educate people. If you want to see it as fear-mongering, I am calling it bringing awareness to something that is happening.
And what's your message to your American audience? Like, what's the point that you're trying to make?
So we need secure borders. Biden is definitely incentivizing this. My intent with waking people up and shining light on this and bringing attention to it is for them to be able to make an educated vote. There's no way that we're the strongest country in the world, the superpower of the world, and we can't control our borders. Just watch your head.
The Biden administration has faced a record number of crossings at the southern border. But in June, CBP reported a 14% drop in encounters from the previous month.
This is one of the caves that the people that are coming in illegally usually is a pretty hot spot. They'll come in here and get cooled down before they get picked up less than a quarter mile down the road.
Do you see any danger in only portraying this sort of dangerous aspect of migration?
We're all responsible for ourselves. I can't.
You have a big platform, though.
Yeah.
When you use words like invasion, right?
It is, well, yes.
That can resonate with a lot of
right,
people.
yeah, but
invasion's a word that you've used almost 20 times in your own Twitter.
Yeah, and to me.
Does that not worry you?
No, because that is ultimately what's happening. The replacement theory is not a theory. It's being played out right before our eyes right now, every day.
What do you mean by that?
Exactly what I mean.
Spell it out, because that's the replacement theory is exactly what led the Buffalo shooter, the El Paso shooter, the Pittsburgh shooter, the Escondido shooter.
First, we gotta analyze.
4 mass shootings were inspired by principles within the Great Replacement Theory. Is it not dangerous for you to put out content that, in your own very words, is exactly what you're doing?
I cannot edit anything that I do because it's live. And so I think that alone is me just showing you what's out there. Even though I have my own ideas, my own perspective of things, I'm showing just the raw truth.
It's not just the live videos. It's the pervasive narrative that there is something for Americans to be fearful about. And the real-world consequences of someone turning that fear into action live on for some.
Y desde ese tiempo, pues mi vida ha cambiado demasiado. Quedé con mucha ansiedad. Cualquier ruido que escucho fuerte o algo me asusta mucho.
A, as we are calling her, and her son are immigrants from Mexico and were at the Walmart the day of the El Paso shooting. She heard something and then saw the shooter gun someone down. They ran. A has been in the process of seeking political asylum for 7 years and asked us not to use her name or show her face.
La razón principal, ¿no?, por la cual el asesino entró en ese Walmart del Paso, ¿no?, fue por esta percepción de que los inmigrantes y los latinos estaban invadiendo al país. Desde que usted ha estado viviendo en El Paso, ¿cómo ha notado ese sentimiento antimigrante en la comunidad?
Cada vez siento como que más atacan a las personas inmigrantes.
Más.
Sí, siento que hay mucha violencia contra los inmigrantes.
¿Qué cree usted, por lo que ha vivido, que alimenta ese tipo de sentimiento racista y antimigrante?
Yo digo que la política, que hay situaciones que simplemente arriesgan nuestras vidas, la vida de nuestros hijos, y tiene uno que huir y dejar todo atrás, venir a este país, empezar desde abajo, que venimos a trabajar, a luchar, a salir adelante. Es lo único, ¿verdad? Que no somos personas malas.
For now, the lives of thousands of people like A remain in limbo, especially as the future of Title 42 is uncertain. And so long as people continue to seek refuge in the US, right-wing conservatives will continue to stoke the fears of the Great Replacement theory.
So we're in El Paso right now, and we're about to meet with some of the Haitian migrants we met in Juarez that successfully crossed into the United States. And this is the beginning of what's about to be a very long process navigating the asylum system in this country, but also the very dangerous and potent anti-immigrant narrative that is deeply embedded in this country. ¿Cómo se encuentran?
Bien.
¿Ya?
Bien.
So, cruzaron el puente y ¿cómo fue?
Y se hacen las fotos, las huellas, y igual se dan un documento por el 2023 para irme
a la corte.
A la corte, sí.
¿Qué fue lo primero que pensaron cuando llegaron a Estados Unidos?
Pienso que tengo mucho suerte porque hay mucho que intentar para cruzar acá, no cruzan.
Ahora que están en Estados Unidos, ¿qué planes tienen? ¿Qué quieren hacer aquí?
Primero quiero arreglar mi papel, pido asilo y para estar en el país legalmente. Pero no sé qué va a pasar. Por ahora yo estoy mucho feliz.
I'm Michael Learmonth, editor-in-chief of Vice News. Too often, traditional news outlets shy away from the real stories and experiences of those living through global conflicts. Not Vice News. Our reporters are on the ground, fearlessly covering the human stories that shape our world. You and millions of others can continue to read, watch, and listen to Vice News for free. But we hope you'll consider making a one-time or ongoing contribution of any size at vice.com/contribute. Every contribution, no matter how big or small, helps support the journalism Vice News brings to you every day. Thank you.